You ever feel like your patience is being measured out, one Porsche at a time? Let me tell you, every single morning, like clockwork, this kid, Karen's pride and joy, would roll his fancy silver sports car right across my driveway. It was almost impressive, honestly, the way he parked like he owned the whole block, blocking me and crushing the edge of my garden, never so much as a glance my way. That smug little half smile on his face, yeah, you know the type. The kind that makes your blood simmer, makes you want to remind someone that old men don't just get invisible, especially not on their own property. You want to know what boiling rage feels like? It's when you're holding your coffee, staring at the same kid using your driveway like his personal valet, and suddenly you realize being polite just makes you an easy target. That's when I snapped. And let me tell you, he had no idea who he'd picked for a neighbor. You ever wish you could teach someone a lesson they'd never forget? Buckle up, I'll take you back to where it started. My wife, Linda, she always said the driveway was more than just blacktop. She called it where you wave goodbye in the morning and say welcome home at night. She planted those tulips herself, white pebbles, red bulbs, everything picked with care. After she passed 3 years ago, that little stretch of pavement became sacred. I kept it exactly how she liked it, right down to the pattern on the stones. Set up 4 discrete cameras too, just in case. You know, for package thieves. Now those cameras were about to catch a whole different kind of thief. October was biting cold leaves going gold and red. I was adjusting the sprinkler heads by the garden bed when I heard it, a sound you don't forget. Porsche Cayman engine so loud it bounced off every wall in the neighborhood. Guy pulls up, parks directly across my driveway, kills the engine. Out steps this kid, maybe 22, 23, designer sneakers, earbuds that I run the world stretch. He tosses an empty energy drink can right into Linda's tulips. Didn't even flinch. Didn't see the private property sign, didn't care. He left muddy tracks across the stones she picked out, then cut straight across my lawn, heading to the office complex behind our subdivision. I stood there watching the mess he left, felt violated, plain and simple. My brain started running through city codes, violations, all the boring stuff that piles up in your head when you've spent decades as an engineer. But mostly I just missed Linda's voice, missed the normal rhythm. I walked outside, took photos, license plate, the can and the flowers, everything. After about 20 minutes, the kid comes strolling back, same swagger, same indifference. "Excuse me," I called. "Can I have a word?" He took one earbud out, looked at me like I was a bad smell. "This is private property," I said. "You're blocking my driveway." He didn't even look at the car. "Dude, I'm not blocking anything. There's like 3 feet of space." 3 feet. As if that's enough for an ambulance or my pickup or a delivery truck. "I'm leaving anyway." He shrugged. Not even sorry. "You parking here again tomorrow?" I asked, just to see what kind of nerve he had. He smirked. "Maybe. It's convenient. Maybe old dudes should mind their own business." Then he roared off, scattering Linda's pebbles with his tires. I stood there with my empty coffee cup, staring at the small chaos this stranger had made in our home. That night I sat in Linda's chair and thought about boundaries, about respect, about what happens when patience meets pure weaponized entitlement. And I decided if he wanted a lesson on property rights, well, I was the right teacher. 30 years of city codes, ordinances, legal footnotes, all coming off the bench. Next morning, 7:20 sharp, the Porsche glided in again. Kid gets out, does a selfie with my house and his car in the background, digital timestamp posted for the world. "Thanks, son, that's evidence." This time he left the car a full 26 minutes. When he got back, I was waiting outside. "Morning," I said, blocking his path just enough that he had to notice. "We need to talk." He rolled his eyes, yanked his earbud out like I was interrupting something important. "It's a public street, old man. I can park wherever I want." "Actually, you're across my driveway, approach city code 14.2.8. That's a violation." His mouth twitched. "Whatever. My mom's a lawyer. She says you can't do anything." That's when it clicked. This wasn't just entitlement. This was arrogance, fully insured by mommy's law degree. I smiled. "Your mother is Karen Walsh, right?" I'd done my research, vehicle registration, public records, the whole 9 yards. She's petitioned the city before, filed complaints, tried to throw her weight around. Didn't get far. His face started to crumble around the edges. I handed him a folder, city ordinances, annotated. Photos of his car, the trash, the damage. "Here's what happens now. If you're here tomorrow, I'll be filing complaints with the city police, HOA. Everything by the book." The kid just stared at the paperwork, lost. "You're insane," he muttered. But you could hear it. He was scared. He backed out, careful this time, no tulips harmed. That night, Linda's picture watched over me as I sorted evidence, photos, codes, a violation log. Let's see if patience and paperwork can win this one, honey, I said. Phone rang, unknown number. Karen Walsh herself, all business. I believe you've been harassing my son. Mrs. Walsh, I've got everything documented, all according to procedure. She tried to probe how far would I really take this. I let her fish. She'd never tangled with someone who actually knew the law inside and out. Thursday morning, Brandon returned, but this time he had company. A young woman in the passenger seat. She looked uncomfortable, arms folded, not thrilled to be his sidekick. After he left, I tapped the window. Introduced myself. You his sister Madison? She said, apologetic. Told him not to park here, but he won't listen. Mom says you can't do anything. I leaned in, dropped my voice. He do this in other neighborhoods? She nodded. All the time. Thinks it's funny. Posts about it online. Mom always bails him out. When Brandon came back, I told him, your sister's got more sense than you. His whole attitude shifted fast. See, I'd been busy. I'd talked to Janet, the HOA president, and Mrs. Henderson, our eagle-eyed neighbor. Both had tales to tell about the Walsh's complaints, parking problems, always dodging consequences. Even Officer Riley from City Code Enforcement had stories. 3 complaints on that Porsche in the last 6 months. If it's impounded 3 times in 30 days, it's a public nuisance. So Friday morning, I stood at my window, coffee in hand, waiting. 7:20. No Porsche. 7:28. There he was, pulled up with obvious defiance, stomped on Linda's stones, took another selfie, just begging for a fight. I stepped outside, folder in hand. Brandon, here's your certified legal notice. 72 hours to move your car, or it gets towed under the abandoned vehicle statute. Witness statements, photos, city code, all locked and loaded. He read it, face draining. His last stand. My mom's gonna sue you. She's welcome to try. Everything here is documented, witnessed, and legally served. He scanned the evidence, saw Mrs. Henderson's photos, other driveways, other neighborhoods. He finally got it. This wasn't about one old man. It was the whole community, all watching, all fed up. Monday, 7:15 a.m. I waited. 7:28, that engine noise again. He pulled up, idled, almost turned around. But no, he parked, got out, walked away. My phone call to Tony's recovery was quick. Tow truck arrived, paperwork perfect. Mrs. Henderson popped out, took photos, she was loving this. At 8:05, Brandon came back, saw his Porsche up on the lift. He lost it, screaming that we were stealing his car. Officer Riley showed up, handed Brandon the incident report. You've been properly notified. Violation documented. Continued trespass will result in impoundment. Brandon finally started to realize this was real. He paid the fee, but the damage was done, over $400 gone, and the car was one more slip-up from the crusher. But Karen Walsh wasn't done. She parked her own BMW in my driveway the next day, trying to negotiate in workout gear in a glare. I smiled, documented everything. Move your car or Tony gets another call. She left in a hurry. That afternoon, she started a campaign asking the neighbors if I'd lost my mind since Linda died digging for dirt. Mrs. Henderson shut her down. David's the most responsible man in the neighborhood, she told her. You folks are the ones who need to learn manners. When Karen filed a complaint, Officer Riley reviewed my records, signed off on everything. You're clean, Mr. Miller. She's just retaliating. But Brandon wasn't finished. Later that week, he came back angry, filming for social media, shouting about harassment. I'd just documented him, called Tony, watched the car get towed again. This time, $635 in fees. He finally broke, stood there defeated, admitting he couldn't pay. Tony explained storage fees keep going. After 7 days, city takes it. After 30, it goes to auction. Brandon looked like someone learning for the first time that consequences can't be bought off. Madison came to see me. Mr. Miller, my parents are talking about taking out a loan. Brandon's learned his lesson. I told her, this is about choices, not revenge. The law is the law. For the first time, she said, you did the right thing. It meant something coming from her. In the end, the city scheduled a hearing. The Walsh family showed up, Karen, tired, Brandon, pale, Madison there for support. Hearing officer asked Brandon if he disputed the facts. He shook his head. No, ma'am. I parked where I shouldn't, ignored the notice, did it again. Karen paid the $947 with a bank check, money that clearly cost them. As we left, Brandon stopped me. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I ignored your warning. I won't do it again. I shook his hand. Sometimes the most valuable lessons are the most expensive. That afternoon I sat in Linda's chair, sunlight catching the white pebbles, tulips safe, the neighborhood finally quiet. And I thought maybe, just maybe, people need a reminder that respect isn't optional. Property rights aren't suggestions. Being polite and prepared is stronger than any show of force. So here's my question for you. Where's the line between standing up for yourself and becoming the villain in someone else's story? Have you ever had to teach someone a lesson, not because you wanted to, but because nobody else would? Drop your thoughts below or share the time you stood your ground and made sure respect wasn't just a word. Let's hear your stories, because sometimes that's how communities get stronger.